Anywhere from 40 to 50% of women who get mammograms have dense breast tissue. But a new study shows many women may not realize that having dense breasts may increase their risk of developing breast cancer. That is where Fox's medical team's Beth Galvin comes in. Good morning to you, Beth.
And good morning to you, Maria.
So how does a woman know if she has dense breast tissue?
So the only way to really know if you have dense breast tissue is to get a mammogram. And when they tell you that you have, dense breast tissue, that just means that you have more fibrous or glandular tissue in your breast as opposed to fatty breast tissue. So it's kind of a spectrum, and it's talking about the composition of what your breast tissue is made up of.
And what did researchers find when they talked to women about breast density?
So they did two things. They surveyed them, and they also did interviews with women, and they found that they did understand some risk factors. Like they understood that, having a strong family history of breast cancer might raise their risk of breast cancer, but they didn't really seem to understand that having dense breast tissue is in of itself an independent risk factor for developing breast cancer. And they didn't really seem to be very clear on what it meant to have dense breast tissue. So there seemed to be still a lot of confusion about, what does it mean when we talk about breast density, Maria?
I think it's important to know, though, talking about the percentages we started this interview with, 40 to 50%, it sounds like having dense breasts, that's something that's common. Why has it become such a big concern at this point?
So it is common and it is normal, and so many women, almost half of women, under the age of 70 will have dense breast tissue. The concern is for a couple of reasons. When you have dense breast tissue on a mammogram, typically it shows up white or grayish, and that is the same way that cancer can show up on a mammogram, or calcium deposits on a mammogram, and so it can make it more difficult for the radiologist to read and interpret your mammogram and spot breast cancer. But then there's the issue of there's growing evidence and growing, science that shows that if you have very dense breast tissue, you're at increased risk of having developing breast cancer later on in life. And the risk is even higher than, say, if you had a family history of breast cancer. So it's an important thing to know, because it should be a discussion that you're having with your doctor about what that means for your individual risk factor, and what you need to know and be aware of going forward.
So certainly if you find out that you fall under this category, talk to your doctor about potential additional tests?
Yes, there may be, you may need to have a breast MRI or a breast ultrasound, to have these supplemental tests to take a closer look at your breast tissue. I wouldn't be alarmed if they want to do that. That just means they want to keep an eye on it and, make sure that nothing is going undetected. Right?
Beth, we really appreciate this information. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.